Yeah.
There we go. All right, you boys ready?
No,
I'm ready to go.
Oh yeah.
Hey, this is Wicked Spursy, Mike, Steve, Dave, and tonight our very special guest, and we give you that moniker of very special guest, our friend Brian from Rhode Island. Brian, how are you, buddy? What's going on?
I'm doing great. Just spent a lovely 4-5 days up in the Green Mountain State. So how could I not be doing pretty lovely on the other side of that?
Valid. We feel the same way. We're lucky enough to live here, but we're glad you visit. Good to have you.
Happy to be back.
All right, Steve, my man, what's going on with you? How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. I'm happy to be back, happy to talk Spurs, and happy to tell you all that my mom and I collectively replaced a basement window this weekend.
Interesting.
It's not easy.
Like a basement, like escape type of window. Escape's not the right word, but those
like
windows?
A hopper window. Yeah, the one that we had, the one that the prior owners had in there was it was all wood rot all over. We had to rip that thing out, replace the bad wood with the good wood, get a brand new window in there, seal it up tight. It was fun. It was hot, but it was fun.
Nice. I want to give you props for calling it a basement too, because I know hardcore Vermonters like Michael like to call it a cellar. Isn't that right, Mike?
Fucking cellar. No, I don't call it a cellar. I don't call it a cellar.
You call it a basement?
Yeah, it's a basement.
All right. Well, on that note, how are you, Mike?
Oh, I'm great. I just like Brian said, we get to spend I spent some time with Brian this weekend at our friend's palatial estate on Lake Bomazine. Kids got to go in the water. All of our kids, Brian's kid got to go swimming off the tiki barge, which was a fun time, man. And Lily and Rose got to spend some time together, which was great. I feel like they really like each other, so that's good. And I couldn't have asked for a better weekend. We got our football team winning. I had time with a lot of friends. I had food, we had drinks, and lots of laughs. And dancing.
Fantastic.
We danced.
Can confirm. And silent disco, which
silent
is
disco.
For having several kids in the house, renting a silent disco setup with 3 very different playlists was a pretty awesome move all around. So our annual props to our mutual buddy Trey for throwing one hell of a bash. So
and Trey allowed me to put up my flags and stuff. So on the outside of his home.
That's awesome. Quick question, Steve. Did you get the Evite or the paper invitation for that one, or were you just a
Dave,
bastard like
I
myself?
I can't say that I did. I did you? Were you?
I'm gonna go check the mailbox. It might be out there still.
Oh, maybe it got lost.
Yeah, the U.S. Postal Service around here is pretty lazy and slow, so there's a chance it got.
I looked at my spam filters.
I
checked my voicemail for the first
Poppy, Brian, we're looking forward to it next year. We really are excited
specifically to invite you guys. And
Poppy, I knew we shouldn't have sent the invite via YouTube comment, but I was like, everybody reads all of these.
Everybody reads
all of them,
absolutely, and
response, and they get responses too from every one of us.
To be fair, Dave, it's not like Mike ever sees us. So when would he have had the opportunity to extend such a gracious invitation?
Yeah,
well, in fact, I was told to invite you guys, and I said, no, I don't want to come.
Yeah,
they don't want to spend time. They don't want to spend time on a beautiful lake in the middle of Vermont.
I do live a whole hour away from where you guys were, so I totally get how that was a bit much to ask of me. So thank you for excusing me from that opportunity.
You heard it here first, folks. The second annual, Labor Day live, first annual Labor Day live pod of Wicked Spursy is going to happen this time next year.
Bingo, the old post Labor Day festival.
Yeah, right? On Lake Bomo. Yep.
Post Labor Day.
Bring your anti-algae cream and whatever else you might need. Right?
There's none of that shit there.
Oh, they get rid of all that green muck that used to hang around.
Lake Bomazine is mostly pretty clean. There are some areas where there's stuff, but like you get out in the lake,
wherever Mike is,
ultra clean. I feel like we got a football game we got to talk about.
Oh yeah, let's change the subject.
Too soon. First, though, before we do that, let's talk about a party that we did get invited to. Steve, just want to throw some props out again, Mike. Wicked Spursy Barbecue, rousing success, tasty food. Good kinship, and I think a good time had by all, as far as I could tell, or at least good time had by me.
I'd agree with that. Yeah.
So
that was fun.
Thank you for that. Much appreciate that.
I didn't. Yeah, people didn't like the music. That was the thing. I was like, oh, what Fish song we're gonna hear next for 45 minutes?
I just want to note, I did get invited to that one. I was very sorry to Rose and I were sorry to miss it this year. My mom's birthday is August 25th, and she had there's some scheduling complications around when we were going to celebrate her birthday. So
hey, but at least you had the opportunity to get an invite and then issue a declination for a reasonable purpose. That's good for you. That's awesome.
Yeah, it would have been nice to have at least been able to tell Mike not a chance in hell, but there's always next year, right?
Again, football. This is a rag on Mike's session. Like
NFL starts next weekend. Let's talk about it. How about the Bears, huh?
How about the Bears?
We're not going there yet. Hey, let's talk about our shared football. It was a nice weekend, boys. How would you like to start? I think giving our guest a chance to take a crack at it first is always a good.
It's polite.
Option. Yeah. So Brian, why don't you get us started with your assessment of things? What do you think?
God damn, it feels good to have Sonny back. That's like first observation. Is goddamn, it's good to have Sonny back. Second observation, because I haven't been able to say it on this pod yet. Goddamn, it is good to have Big Ange Postecoglou. I texted you guys this like not that long ago, that I feel the best about Spurs than I've felt since like maybe like the middle to the end of like the second Poch season or something, when you could kind of feel like, holy crap, this is like clicking. I think whatever year that was, 2018, where that calendar year we had more points than the Premier League record holder had to then. That kind of energetic football, the feeling of having activated players that we previously thought maybe were on the way out. I mean, remember how dirty of a player Jan Vertonghen was, and then we brought in Toby Alderweireld, and we had an intelligent manager, and then all of a sudden this Belgian backbone managed to kind of keep things under control in the back, and then this one season wonder named Harry Kane started to come up, kind of around that time. One season wonder for how many seasons in a row? 3, I think, was it? Is Golden Boot?
I don't even know who you're talking about, to be honest.
His face is on a German milk carton somewhere, as far as Dave's concerned.
I do have to bring this up. You're talking about dirty defenders, and I need to interject for a moment. Christian Romero. If I told you that Christian Romero in this Premier League season so far hasn't committed a single foul and has not been carded in the league in 4 games, would you believe me?
Oh, Vegas wouldn't believe you. Like, Paddy Power wouldn't believe. No,
but it's true.
It's
I had to look that up.
Turns out having, Big Mick back there he's living up to the hype. Also living up to the hype as being the I'm Irish. I can call anybody Big Mick if I want to. But Big Mick, he's living up to a bunch of things. Smart, agile, fastest defender in the Bundesliga. This is how he was kind of sold. And man, he jumped right in there. You can see he's already friends with everybody. Seems like a nice kid. I can say he's a nice kid because he's almost half my age, which is just mortifying. But we're all familiar with those observations. But I mean, I like every part of the new Tottenham Hotspur team get up. I think our transfers were great this summer, and they're starting to already bear fruit. It's a good time to be us. But the proof is in the pudding. We lost Fulham to a B-, like we put a B- squad out there and ended up getting it back, and we lost on penalties, which is like, as my Uncle Ted likes to say, doing that, it's like settling a 72-hole golf tournament with a putting contest. I think that's pretty apropos for going to PKs. So hey, we lost the putting contest, but we did that basically with our B team. We were in that match. We weren't great, weren't nearly as good as the A team, but I feel like you got to be the most hardened, cynical Spurs fan. And I know they're out there. They're probably listening on the YouTube right now, but
angrily typing away, trolling comments.
But I feel
inviting us to parties.
I feel I feel great. Couldn't help yourself. But yeah, I feel pretty good about it. I think it's not new manager bounce. I think this is real. No. It feels solid. It feels like the players are getting it. They're visibly happy. I feel wonderful, and the proof's in the pudding. We won 5-2, and I got to watch it with Poppy. How much better of a weekend could you have?
Beautiful. Let's go to Captain Poppy. Mike, before you talk about the match, I'm going to throw this at you because I think you might be ready for it. We've given him a little stick over the years, but I think some Davinson Sanchez love is due. So, what do you have to say about Davinson first, and then let's get into the match. What do you got?
So Brian just mentioned our B- squad playing against Fulham, and the one guy who missed the penalty that sent us careening off the road and out of the Carabao Cup was a Galatasaray player,
who also stepped up because nobody else was taking that.
Who happened to also be in the Champions League now. So I feel like him and Tanguy won't hustle, and Dombele, they're going to get to play Champions League, and guys like James Maddison, guys like Heung-min Son and Dejan Kulusevski will not get to play in the Champions League. It's a crying fucking shame, and that's the world we live in. Dave Sanchez, I think, I don't know how he left, and Eric
That's
Dyer
just how
played.
Poppy stores Davinson Sanchez's name in his phone. They're text buddies, even if Mike's disappointed.
I have no sort of feelings for him leaving the club. I think that the guy's really fast. I think we could have given him a shot in this squad, and I think that he may have worked out well. He has the speed, he has the recovery speed. He was by far the fastest player on the team. He's 100% faster than Sonny is even. And we know Sonny is fast. I mean, he's quick. He's super quick, but he's better with the ball at his feet, right? When he has to make split second decisions at full speed, Sonny, there's probably not a better player in the league. Maybe outside of one or two. And that's where Sonny's real speed comes in, is when he can control a ball. Dave Sanchez had recovery speed, which I think would have really, really worked. So this is Dave Jantz's attempt to get me to talk about something other than the joy I got from the game. He wanted me to talk about Davinson fucking Sanchez, a guy who doesn't even play for us anymore.
All right. So yeah, you get to talk about the match, but Steve, I'm coming to you because I think we rode Davinson hard quite a bit, but when that guy goes through what he went through last year with our fans, the way they treated him and the fact that he came back with his chin up.
Is that what you wanted me to talk about?
Because I just think the guy deserves a little bit of respect for being a decent player when he started with us, being put in difficult situations systemically that really didn't suit him whatsoever.
I think he was a very good player, Dave. I actually said that when he was back there with Jan and Toby, I think he was very, very successful. But that's because he didn't have a single partner that had to defend, or that had to pick up on defense for him. He didn't have to nobody had to cover for him for his mistakes. So he was able to be kind of a more forward defender, a more risky defender, because he had people who could cover.
Right?
Yeah. He got people who could cover for him. He could push further up the field. It's
fair enough.
And sure.
He
went through some terrible shit, and we talked about it at the time. How nobody deserves it.
Man, Steve, he doesn't want to talk about Sanchez. We're just gonna let's get to the match. What do you got? Go ahead, talk about how Van de Ven didn't get beat at the end.
Oh, we could talk about that too. And he didn't get beat. He was on the other side of the fucking box. It wasn't his guy.
Here we go.
He was man marking his guy.
Shots fired.
We're going to talk about this.
Oh,
because
man.
He sent several shots that showed him far away from the play. And there were four dudes.
Far away. He was in the D. That's where he was. That's not the other side of the field.
But he was man marking a different player. He had a different player to worry about. Had he taken a step earlier, that other player is out in front, and the ball gets put in front of the goal for that player.
And
so
he recovers to that player.
Who happened to be Foster, who can actually finish a ball. So because he did previous. So
as opposed to the guy who did finish the ball.
It doesn't matter, Dave. The fact that Van de Ven wasn't the guy who got fucking beat on that. In fact, I can't believe he didn't actually make the tackle and deflect the ball.
Personally, I'd like to hear, with all due respect to the rest of
anyway,
I would like to hear from the person who has consistently over the 4 seasons of this podcast had the best tactical assessment.
No, Brian, don't do that. Mike's going to be pissed because I didn't let him talk about the match yet. I've been sidetracked with other things. We'll get to Steve. He'll bring the hammer, but Mike first.
So let's talk about this match. The match started off slowly. The first 5 to 11 minutes were very hectic. They were very, everything was very unsettled. We were pressing really hard, but at the same time, nobody in the midfield was in positions they needed to be in to intercept balls. Balls were flowing freely through our midfield and out through to the wings. And we were consistently being pushed back into our box. We were every time we were able to get the ball up the field, it got sent right back to us. We were just unsettled and a little bit frantic at the front, and that kind of led to that first goal. And I think that Van de Ven was more responsible for losing his man, being a little too cavalier on the attack and losing his man on that first goal than he was on the second goal. Which, you know what, Dave, we'll come back to that whole situation maybe later in the season if a fucking 1 goal differential keeps us out of a fucking European spot. So that said, once we settled in, we stopped pressing the keeper. We were pressing up more on the wings and through the midfield. We were defending in the midfield. We were winning 50-50 balls. Any balls that were, I think Van de Ven for the most part was actually had some brilliant spots where he was defending a lot higher. He was, he was winning back balls that he lost. Same with Basuma. Basuma, I thought, was dreadful in the first 5-10 minutes. And Papsar was kind of just absent. But, after Sonny equalizes, by the way, that was the ball that came from Poro, right?
To equalize Solomon. I'm trying to remember.
So Solomon. I think
the first one was Solomon.
The first one was Solomon. Okay.
Man, that chip was beautiful.
That chip was, as good as you're going to see anybody hit a chip, in professional soccer.
He was like the old,
and he was doing it at pace, and he kind of did it at pace too, and just popped it over the dude's head.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
What a fantastic finish. And so after that first goal, the ball, I thought the most brilliant ball played all day was from the one that Son scored from Poro.
Agreed. That was a great pass.
He kind of found himself in the middle of the field, and he just threaded the fucking needle. And what a brilliant ball. And and it seemed like every single time I was like, there was a ball, a ball played through. I was like, Brian and I are both out of our fucking seats, because who was right there? Our new center forward, new center striker, Hyunmin Son. And like Brian said, how great it is to have Sonny back. Somebody who can handle the ball at pace. I think we talked about it before. He's just not the type of guy who's going to play a winger along the touchline, because he doesn't beat guys with his dribbling. That's not part of his game. Mike,
if I can interject quickly, like when we looked at him last year and we commented on this, now we know he was injured, right? Now we know he was covering something, but last year he was indecisive. He'd have those moments where it was decision time, and he'd take one too many dribbles or one too many steps and lose the moment. And he doesn't do that anymore. He's back to,
early on, the first couple of games has happened,
fair.
I think now he knows that he can look for a small space, and he can put it where he needs to put it. I think those finishes are going to give him a shitload of confidence going forward. So then we get Madison's ball, which I don't think you get more fucking clinical than that. Like, and that's the type of shit.
He was definitely holding down the finesse button on his, PlayStation controller for that one.
Holy shit! Like
that was a beautiful, beautiful bend.
You got Romero's ball too, though. Gotta love a rocket.
Romero's ball was like a fucking rocket. I'd like to see the heat signature thing on that.
Yeah.
Imagine that, Christian Romero hitting a battering ram of anything.
Well,
Christian Romero is our most feared attacker now.
Precisely. second highest goal total on the team. Is that right?
First, right?
Well, no, Sonny's.
Well, Sonny's. I guess he's second now. Yeah.
There you go.
Like sixth in the league or something.
Steve, what kind of tactical analysis have we left you with? You got any scraps you can pick up after
my shit? We know that my shit wasn't tactical analysis.
It's funny because for as good as Spurs were, Burnley, Vincent Kompany's got his work cut out for him. They were applying certain tactics that probably would continue to work in the Championship, but not really in the Premier League.
Sure.
It seemed like, barring the first, 5-10 minutes of the game where they looked cohesive, things kind of just fell to shit for them. Like they lost any sense of cohesion. They weren't pressing together. If there were any triggers in the team to tell people when to go and when to stay, I couldn't figure out what they were, because it looked like, certain players were going when they shouldn't. Certain players were staying back when maybe the run was on for them. So for as good as Spurs were, Burnley really made it easy for them. And, one of the nice things to see this season is that instead of Spurs kind of taking, a lead or reclaiming a lead in this case and taking the foot off the gas, they really pushed them. They punished that team for every mistake that they made. And honestly, they probably could have had a couple of more too. But it's a different mindset that we're seeing this season from Spurs that I don't think we're really used to, or at least we haven't been in many seasons now. And it's that killer instinct that every player is pushing, not just to get more goals than the other team, but to really make sure that they are stamping their authority on the game and making it known that they are not going to make anything easy for any team that we are playing. Is it always going to work? No, probably not. We saw Fulham was a defeat. Granted, yes, it was a B- team, and they didn't play particularly well, especially in that first half. But I would expect that the A team is probably going to struggle at times too. The difference, and honestly, the one thing that I see that's consistent across every Premier League game, I'm not going to count Fulham in this, is this new mentality. And you can look at it as, if you look at the starting 11 and when they signed for the club, Son is the oldest player out there by many years. Everybody else is like 1-2-year-old signings, right? So relatively new. There's a freshness in that mentality. There's a determination that's out there. Everybody on that team, even when a mistake is made, even when, Mickey Van de Ven gets that own goal, even when Pedro Porro loses his marker and somebody gets a cross into the box that ends up in the back of the net, there's no defeatist attitude after that, right? In seasons past, after 5 minutes going a goal down, we would have seen people, hang their heads and try to play it safe and try to get back into the game very cautiously. That's not what I saw. What I saw was a team that went behind, and I don't know what changed in their mindset, but they went for it. They played those risky balls. They really went out there to stamp their authority on the game, and we came away with an incredible 5-2 victory. And yeah, it's Burnley, everybody's going to be coming away with big wins against them if they don't get their shit together. But this Spurs team it's different, right? Like, we wouldn't have seen this last season. We would have gotten to 2-1 and then taken our foot off the gas, and then they would have equalized at the end, and we would have come away with a point and felt like a loss. right? Am I wrong?
No, and that's an interesting point. Do you guys find yourself? I struggle with this for a moment. Go down 1-0 and like those old habits kind of start to kick in, like just being like, oh geez, here we go. This is going to be that type of thing. Do you guys feel that way, or did you feel a new type of optimism? Like, yeah, this is no problem.
I can tell you for a fact. I'll let Brian tell you exactly what he said to me the second that goal went in.
They scored too early.
Interesting.
I mean, it's like glad you did a couple of things by scoring too early. One, you've pissed everybody off here, right? You've pissed off everybody from Ange on down, and you could see it. And I think, Steve, to your question, I think it's a manager who's not going to call somebody out in public. He might call them out in private for tactical mistakes, but with an eye to improvement, not to castigate them or to do any kind of insane, psychopath politics.
Right?
Yeah. That is like the antithesis to Postecoglou. So that's a good start. And then I think, honestly, I really like these three captains. Like what you're talking about, Steve, about the guys with their heads down. Oh, he scored a goal. Yeah, no. Like Madison, even Ramiro was going right over to everybody, being like, "Get your asses up there. This is not over. Like, just like stop." Like, so having a psychologically resilient set of captains, starting with Sonny, and then I thought there was two great selections. Madison seems like, I didn't even really know this about him at Leicester City, but he's such a natural leader. I think it just comes naturally to him. It's just who he is. He's got a lot of confidence out there, and that is infectious. He has confidence in his teammates, and they feel it. He's like, I've not been this happy about watching a Spurs player, I think, since like Pete Christian Eriksen, whom you all know I have deep and undying, abiding love for. But manager and captains, I think that alone, just like because he said, I will never yell at one of my players for being brave, trying to move the ball up the field, as long as if it's within our system and we're agreed on how we want to play. I'm never going to yell at them for, hey, like it didn't work out that time. I'm just going to push you to be, keep getting better and keep getting more comfortable with this stuff. And I think that's massive.
It's funny, Brian, on that point, I remember reading about scenarios like at Celtic where Ange's players would make a pass or make a play that didn't work out, but he would applaud the play because it's what they expected in terms of how they were going to play. Yeah. And the commentators actually spoke to that. There was a pass I think Basuma made that went nowhere and it just trickled out of bounds. And the commentators actually said Ange was like clapping him up, saying like, "Hey, that was the right pass. It was the right thing to do." That's something that would not have happened in the past. Really, really cool and exciting to see.
Absolutely. But the interesting thing about all this. So first, speaking about Ange and his influence, right? Like if you look at what he said after the Fulham game, did he throw anybody under the bus? I don't remember him doing that. I remember him saying, "Look, I needed to see how these players were going to work, and I threw them out there." Like he was holding himself accountable.
These guys haven't even played a lot of football, mate.
Yeah, and look, these guys,
certainly haven't played together.
You see people.
I'm going to work on my ends this season.
You've been working on it, Brian. I like it.
But you see the people on social media who are going out. They're saying, "Well, any Spurs fan could have told you that throwing those 11 out there would have resulted in calamity." And it's like, yeah, we probably could have, but Ange needed them to go out there and to prove something. And frankly, they didn't, right? Like there's really nobody out there that basked themselves in any kind of glory. And there's an argument that could be made that, transfer window was closing and we needed to get some of these guys in the shop window to get some of these moves going. But, he didn't shy away from it. The other interesting thing is if you consider the three captains, right, the Madison, the Sonny, and the Romero, they're all very different personalities, which I find fascinating, right? Like you've got no nonsense, hard tackling, I'm going to break your leg in training Romero going out there and kind of being that steel that you need him to be. You've got, the everyman son who's he seems to be in everybody's Instagram stories, taking calls with Pat Sarr on international break, having a laugh with some of his buddies. And then there's Madison who, Brian, I think you're spot on, is just that natural charismatic leader. He might not be everybody's friend, but he reads the game well. And the most interesting thing for me about Madison is he's accepting of criticism. He listens to the critiques that not just his coaches, but some of the commentary, the broadcasters. He listens to what they say, and he takes it to heart. He doesn't let it beat him up, but he takes it in, he thinks about it, and he's able to have that kind of back and forth conversation with some of these guys that say, hey, you know what? I hear what you're saying. This is what was going through my mind. I can do this better next time. I can improve in this aspect of my game. They're all very different leadership styles from what I can tell as an outsider looking in. And I truly believe that works to Spurs' benefit. Just having guys who can kind of, you've got somebody for the good times, somebody for the bad times, somebody when, coach has just ripped you a new one to come out and say, look, listen, mate, don't take it the wrong way. This is what he's trying to get you to do and kind of rally. So I think it's all really smart. And
I think, picking up, just watching a lot of games, and those guys, they're so different. I think it's tactically, maybe strategically, really interesting that he chose, a Spanish speaking guy, it chose a native English speaking guy, and then he chose kind of an international icon, if you will, in Sonny. But I think they might be very different, but I think they appeal to naturally to different parts of the roster. But the thing that they have in common is that you can see all three of them. They will put up with almost anything, but if you're mailing it in, they're going to destroy you. And it doesn't matter what language they're speaking. You're going to know that they're just put up with anything, but not you not working hard, not you trying to kind of live the vision of what this manager is trying to do here.
I will say my all-time favorite thing so far this season about what Ange has done is seeing all the comments on Reddit and Facebook and whatever, Instagram, of other fans of other clubs going in there and thinking, hey, is my new coach feeding me a load of bullshit when he says I need time to bet in the players? Because look at what Ange is doing. Mm-hmm. And frankly, look, we've heard the same song and dance before too, right? Whoa, well, we need some time to get people used to it, blah, blah, blah. And just come in 4 games in. I mean, it's clearly a different Spurs. He's clearly made his mark. It's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but there is a clear difference from what we have right now versus what we ended last season with. And I just love how jealous some of the other football clubs are with Seriously. What we have in Ange.
It's kind of fun, isn't
it? I'm finally, we were texting over the summer, and I was like, everything I was reading, I'm like, I'm getting cautiously optimistic. I'm allowing myself to think about what it might feel like to have this guy be our manager week in, week out. And now I'm just like,
you were ready to be hurt again, weren't you? That's really what it came down to.
Yeah. That's it's like that line in Jerry Maguire. It's like, that's how you become great, man. Just hang your balls out there, And maybe that's what Ange is telling them, in the dressing room when he's telling them to be brave. I don't know.
No, you know what he's saying? He's telling them in the dressing room, and I know this for a fact. I'm just copying Pep, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, so is Vincent Kompany, though.
Yeah, but one of them's better at it, mate.
Very, very true. Steve, you talked about your favorite things a few minutes ago. You know what one of my favorite things is?
Invitations to parties.
Yes. One of my second favorite things is asking special questions of special people.
Oh, and we have a special guest too. That's all sorts of special.
We have a special guest that I think letting our special guest ask a special question
to another special person.
Yeah, I think all in all, that's the way to go. You with me on that, Steve?
I'm with you.
Brian, what am I thinking?
It's been many months since I've been able to ask this digitally, even though I literally asked him this weekend once or twice and then laughed to myself. But I think you may be thinking, Mike, what you drinking?
Precisely.
Well, Brian, I love it when you ask that. Today, I have a good beer for 14th Star that I have. Actually, I gotta do that. I have actually figured out a way to actually put this up to the camera.
What's that? What's that actually? I can read it, but I can't. What's it called?
It's called Empowerment Pale
Empowerment
Pale Ale.
All right, gotcha.
So this is a beer from 14 Star that Steve and I had actually picked up at the brewery right before the barbecue. And I've held out this long on drinking it. So this is a beer that was brewed for and with Vermont Adaptive Ski and Sports.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and Vermont Adaptive is a group that for those of you who don't know, they're a group that tries to empower people with disabilities through adaptive sports. So specifically skiing and mountain sports. So and they provide and they hook up these folks with equipment so that they can do the same type of activities and outdoor sports that able-bodied folks are able to do.
Mike, you know this, the mountain where I ski, Bromley, they have a big presence there and a big program there. It's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, and it's great to see Killington has one too, which is great to see a bigger mountain have that. And it starts off with the smaller mountains and smaller organizations. And I think I've lost my mic.
No, you're good.
That's fine.
I still got you. You're good.
Give me 2 seconds to hook back in here.
1, 2.
You know,
you lost him.
You did.
He's gone.
I'm not.
He's gone forever. Gone. We're never going to hear from Mike again.
I'm not dead yet.
Or is it like that country song? How can I miss you if you just won't go away?
So yeah. So they brought the folks in from Vermont Adaptive and they brewed this beer with them and kind of taught them how to brew the beer, which is really cool. Cool. And I know I do a bunch of India Pale Ales and double India Pale Ales and stuff. I've been trying to get away from that this season. But let's pop right into this. Oh man. Whew. That smells hoppy straight off the bat. I'm gonna put it in my Red Sox glass, even though they're losing 3-2 right now. If you see me looking away, that's what I've been doing, is checking the score every once in a while.
It must be fun to watch a baseball team that's still playing like it matters.
They did last night, I can tell you that. So this is a 16-ounce glass. It did not fit my 16-ounce beer.
Unacceptable.
Somebody's cutting some corners.
Yeah,
you had one job, bottle guy.
It's either the folks at 14 Star putting too much in, or the folks at the beer glass making company are shorting us.
My money's on the latter. Perfect way to.
Yeah, there's something poetic about the Red Sox cup runneth over.
Yeah, exactly. So straight off the bat, smells like citrus, a little bit of pininess in there. I don't know what kind of hops go into this. But it says that it's big juicy flavors and bitterness and enjoy after a day of play in the Green Mountains. Well, I have been in the Green Mountains, so not necessarily at play, but let's drink this and see where we go.
You know, I actually got to have this when my folks were up, so I know what Mike is drinking.
This beer is pretty good. It's a little overly bitter than I expected it to be. Not as citrusy. It's light, like like you see with the session IPAs and stuff that they have out there. It's super light. It's fizzy. Not heavy at all. So you can tell that it's the difference between a pale ale and an IPA, right? It is hazy. It's still kind of unfiltered looking. It's just a little bit bitter for me. I like it a lot, but I just like it. The nose on it does not match the taste.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Mike, can I share with you?
I think if this beer got warm, I would not enjoy it at all.
Can I share with you
That's the
my thoughts?
second time in about 3 weeks we've heard that from you, like the temperature change assessment. I like that one. Although I can't think of too many warm beers that I love, just being candid. I mean, cask ales you can justify, but
my thoughts when I sampled that were pretty much, I taste the hops.
I think that's what it is. Yeah, I taste the hops. Like,
I get it. Yep.
But it's not like they're trying to blow your face off with the hops. You know,
that's fair. That's reasonable.
Yeah. I mean, I like it. I like it a lot. I'm definitely going to finish this one before we finish here. It's not undrinkable. So that gives you kind of.
Well, yeah, we got our ratings in. Where you landed?
I'm going to go 3.3 on this one.
Oh my God, Dave got it exactly right.
Wow.
Big Daddy Dave brought it tonight. That's what I'm talking about.
Unbelievable.
How many exact scores do you have in the history of the pod?
That's my first. Steve, I think you've had one or two.
I think Steve's had at least one.
Yeah. Cool.
I feel like Dave needs like a WWE belt to show off.
What I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And I was thinking to myself, like, I was thinking 3-3 is risky because, Mike, you don't go odd decimals very often for what it's worth, right? You tend to land even, but I was like, I'm going to gamble and go with the 3.3, and boom, struck.
I got to tell you, the beer. Our friend Nathan, who has been on the pod for the World Cup preview that we did, he showed me something this weekend that made a beer that I typically hate taste amazing.
Got my curiosity there.
Corona. Somebody came and dropped off a 12-pack of Corona for us.
You squeezed the lime into it?
No, I did not. I did drink it down the neck, and then I was told to put a little bit of Aperol in there.
Aperol, huh.
And boy, was that fucking tasty. It really livened up that beer. And I've been told that they've been doing it with High Lifes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the when my degenerate Providence friends are trying to class things up, they throw a dash of Aperol inside a Miller High Life, because obviously what doesn't scream classy?
An aperitif spritzer.
Yeah.
So no, it was actually delicious, actually, and I ended up having 7 to 9 of them at the barbecue on Sunday at the finale of the weekend barbecue.
Would you call it an Aperona?
Oh, I am now.
Hey, how about your song for tonight's beer? What are you thinking?
You know what? In honor of kind of Ange Ball, I remember saying that we're going to lose probably 3 out of our first 6. That can't happen now.
Very true.
But it still we could still lose some games, but like right now I'm flying higher. Like every single match, I feel like we're getting our Spurs back. And I'm believing more and more. Like if after the last match, I didn't believe, like barring the disaster that happened in Fulham at Craven Cottage, I've been like every league match, I've been gaining more and more and more momentum. And I feel like this deserves this. And it's to go along with this beer, because this weekend I just felt like I was like back into it, man. Everything was back into it. And this is kind of the top hat on my weekend, because I don't think I'm going to drink another beer after this for a long time. That's probably not true, but
I'm going to say episode coming up.
I'm going to say I'm going to go ahead and say Kiss New York Groove.
Oh,
so right. Yeah, I feel like Spurs are back in the groove, man. This beer is capping this great weekend that actually gave me the faith that Spurs are going to make a European competition this year. And they're not only going to make a European competition, I actually feel they do have a shot at Champions League.
I like it.
So
Like it a lot. Hey, Mike, I want to ask you one more question that has nothing to do with anything we've been talking about. You're the only person on this pod that I think has either been to this thing or would go to this thing. What, as you've been watching the Burning Man flood debacle unfold, what's Mikey the festival goer's assessment of Burning Man this year? What do you think as you look at all that?
I think people the thing about Burning Man is that it's like any other festival that started off with decent intentions. It's been commercialized and turned into a big money thing where initially when Burning Man first started, it wasn't about that. It was about nonconformity. It was about anarchy. It was about people leaving all the vice, bringing your vices to one place and reveling in a non-capitalist society, a bartering and trade type system of living out there. And it's for people to get out of society for a little while and forget everything about their woes and for these people that are stuck out there. I feel fucking awful. But it's basically Burning Man has just turned into fucking Coachella for anarchists.
Anarchists in quotes.
Yeah, anarchists.
I like it, Mike. That's a good assessment.
So I
Mike,
feel bad about what's
Burning
happened
Man?
to them, but they were warned.
I think we've talked about this. Have you been to Burning Man? I think you said you have, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He doesn't want to talk much about it.
When's the Wicked Spursy Burning Man?
Next year.
At the
Next year.
barbecue.
We're holding the barbecue there.
Yeah.
We're in the middle of the Vermont woods.
We're gonna burn, except our burning man is gonna be an effigy of
Tanguy and Dombley.
No, I was gonna say the Arsenal cannon, but like
The Arsenal cannon. There you go.
That works.
we can do that. We can do that
for
Will.
Speaking of
Fucking wanker.
People are touting James Madison as the best transfer of the window. I would counter that by saying we got Tanguy and Dombele out the door again. And that just makes me sleep a little bit better, to be honest. It's kind of like removing that bit of dry rot that I had to do this weekend, just carving it out, getting it in the bin. And now you can move on and admire your nice, pretty, fancy looking new thing that you've got and really enjoy it. Because as good as Madison's been and as enjoyable as he has made things, not having Ndombele around, just it sweetens it even that much more.
People keep saying like Madison feels like a Spurs player.
Mm-hmm.
And he really fucking does.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't just feel like a Spurs player. He feels like an old school Spurs player. Like he feels for me, like he doesn't even feel like a new signing. It feels like he's a guy who's been here for years, and we're just figuring out that he was there. It's one of those things like this guy wears that shirt so perfectly, and he's accepted his role in the club, and has accepted his role as like a first year man, as a vice captain. Like we can say all we want like about Christian Eriksen and how we've been trying to replace him for years, and this guy has been out there that can replace him. He wasn't that great for Leicester. He was injured and he would not show up for periods of time, but I don't think he actually had the skilled players around him at Leicester that he does here. Like it wasn't, the entire team wasn't like completely blown out skilled.
Well,
like,
he also managed to do what he did with,
and he had Brendan Rodgers,
a succession of managers, including Brendan. I definitely haven't had work done on my teeth, Rodgers. And I mean,
he's a Bond villain.
Yeah. And I think he probably thinks of himself that way a little bit too. But no, I mean,
he wishes.
I think this combination. I mean, I think it was pretty clear. I mean, from the comments they've made, Madison wanted to come to Spurs because Ange was coming in. Right. He saw just a nice little marriage. He already knew Sonny really liked him. And he's obviously friends with Harry. So I think like internally about, stuff at the club, I think Harry is a good enough gent to have. He's a former player for Spurs, Dave. I forgot. Minor player. We made a couple bucks trading him to the Bundesliga.
This is not someone I'm familiar with.
Yeah. But I couldn't agree with you more. I do feel like he's been there for forever.
Does he wear Skechers? Does that guy wear Skechers?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, they don't like middle-aged guy mowing his lawn. I got you.
Right. They're Velcro Skechers, right? Is that what they are?
Yeah. Well, this is where we need our buddy, our mutual friend Ross here, because I feel like there's this like succession line of, it's Madison has inherited the mantle. Before that, it was Eriksson. Before that, it was Luka Modric. Like, right. So like this lineage of people who, are the engine room of an offense, who are, the field marshals of an attacking offense. That is what those guys represented. And now it's like, seems like this is exhibit A of the new mantle for someone who's going to take that role and just enjoy the hell out of it. He looks like he's having so much fun out there. They all do. I mean, it's not just the goals and the goal celebrations, but like, they like the way that they're playing, I think, and you can feel
it. And they like each other.
Yeah. And I was gonna say this before, but I think honestly, does it hurt all of us? Does it hurt the club economically, of course, to not be playing in Europe this season? Yeah, sure. But listen, it's not like we can do anything about it at this point, right? We have to be looking for silver linings. And I think one of those silver linings is that we've got a whole season for the whole club and a variety of different combinations of those members of the roster to get really comfortable playing with each other, playing in this system, and really getting it at a muscle memory level without the added pressure in their first season of trying to perform that way with a, kind of a half the A team, half the B team kind of roster, even in, Europa League or Conference League or whatever, let alone the Champions League. So it sucks to not be playing in Europe this season. But, the FA Cup matches don't start till January, February or something like that. So honestly, I'm a little bit like, would I've preferred to stay in the Carabao Cup? Do I think it was probably pretty close that we could have stayed in? Yes, all of the above. But if we're looking for silver linings here for not being in Carabao and, we're going to be in mid-season form, we certainly hope by the time the FA Cup stuff kind of really gets going, I think that, it's not reasonable at all. And by the way, I put my money where my mouth is. I put money on Spurs to win the league, and I put money on Spurs to make the top four. So I am firmly. It's not like Rose's college education is in that much. I didn't put that level of a bet down, but I did. I've literally felt really strongly about it. I was like, screw it. When was the last time you get to just say, hey, I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I believe in this team. I believe in this year, and I think this is a great year to make those bets. And I think it's a great year just for us to say that we're going to make it to the Champions League. I think it's, I feel really good about it, but I think we should look at it as, just to be repetitive, look at it as a silver lining that we're not in Europe. It gives us extra bandwidth to figure that out. It doesn't give us the same number of reps that we might get in the Europa Conference League, which is certainly that is a fair point. But at the same time, there's so much else going on behind the scenes here. The coalescing of this team is still happening. So I think giving it time is not a bad thing.
Hey, here's a question. Steve, would you rather the team of last year playing in Europe this year, or the team of this year not playing in Europe?
Team of this year. Easy.
It's that simple, right?
Last year I wanted to gouge my eyes out watching the games half the time. At least this year I can enjoy myself.
And let's be candid, not playing in the Conference League, less chances for injury for all these players that we.
That is certainly.
We're a little bit frightfully thin in a few areas, right? Like there's some spots where there could be trouble.
AFCON is going to bone us for at least 1 or 2 games.
Yeah, there's trouble that we have to be wary of. So yeah, I'd take.
But guys, Brennan Johnson in this offense,
that should be fun.
Ooh, boy.
I might get Richie back into the fucking
highest top speed.
into the good graces.
Oh, I want that too. I mean, I've texted you guys about this. I'm pro Richie. I think Richie's going to figure this out and be a machine.
He's got to have somebody who can deliver balls to him.
But having Brennan Johnson just fastest guy in he had the highest top clock speed in the Premier League last year. Having that guy tearing down the right flank, like, yes, please sign me up. I'm so excited to watch that.
Mike,
I'd be remiss. I would be remiss if I didn't warn you, Brian. Speaking of putting your money where your mouth is, the last time I did that, I ended up with a Harry Winks jersey. So just be careful.
I was there for that. Well, I was,
yeah.
I was spiritually present, and there's been a hole in my psyche ever since.
Fair warning.
Actually, you were actually there when he wore the Harry Winks.
He was.
I
was.
I was. And you know what? It
was a scuba one too.
No, it was the purple. You put your money down. The purple V-neck one. Is that what it was?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. You put your money down, right? You think Spurs win the league, I'm going to make a pretty penny. But what they don't tell you is that if Spurs do not win the league, it's not that you're out any money. It's that you have to take Harry Winks on load.
Oh, wait a second.
Like you personally.
Listen, this is an ex post facto rider to the bet that I legally placed. I don't know. You
should have read the fine print. I was screwed over by this in the past. Just
Steve, I love you.
That they win.
I love you. I love your commentary, and I love this pod enough. Screw it. Spurs win the league, or I will take the Wings jersey on loan for next season. Okay.
Wow, listen to that.
One season only.
It's an adult medium. Are you still taking it?
Yeah,
he can wear it as a cape or something.
I was gonna say, thanks for the live streaming fat joke there.
Not at all.
Thanks,
bro.
Dave.
I'm a 2X over here, man. I'll claim it. I'm not taking that bet. Just not doing it.
Oh shit!
Mike, I got a question for you, Mike. Because we've talked about the service to Richie piece before, and I saw somebody comment on Twitter like, yeah, hey, Richie doesn't get the service, but boy, it's interesting that Sonny does. And it just made me think, does this Ange system even fit the type of service that Richie requires in order to be a success? I'm not sure it does. What do you think on that?
No, it does. But I can't stress enough that Sonny, I think I've said it 100 times. In my estimation, Sonny is not the guy, who is going to beat a man one-on-one and cross a ball in. If he's going to beat a man one-on-one, if he can, or if he's going to, he's going to be the guy who's going to blow by somebody into the box and put in a finisher. He's going to be the guy, like, if he's going to deliver balls to somebody, he's going to deliver his balls into the Arsenal fans' mouths. No, forget it. You might have to edit that.
I'm wondering where you were going with that. Yeah.
No.
There's a couple edits we're going to make.
He's not the type of guy who plays on a wide out wing. He's a guy who blasts down the field. He's a guy who will drive the ball into the corner and then beat maybe one man or two men and take a shot from the outside. He's a clinical finisher when he's in space, but I just don't think he's that type of guy who will deliver crosses into Richie.
If Pedro Porro and now Brennan Johnson are going to be delivering the kind of through balls that Pedro delivered to Sonny this weekend, if we can start doing that for Richie, look out, man.
Richie can't get out and run. Richie can't get out in front and run. Richie's a guy who can hold up in the box. I think Richie's a guy who needs to be a little bit creative in the box, but he's also a guy who actually can control a cross into the box. That's the type of player he is, but I don't think Sonny's the guy who can deliver that type of a ball to him. I think
Brennan Johnson is our biggest header threat as well.
Yeah, so. I think if Richie's going to score 10 to 15 goals this year, I'd probably say 60% of them are going to be headers, and it's going to be from service, from crosses, whether it's Decky putting the ball back onto his left foot from the end line, or if it's going to be Perisic, unfortunately, I think Manor Solomon is probably going to get knocked down the ranks a little bit and may end up in our U21 squad when Brennan Johnson comes in. I don't think Manor Solomon is long for this Spurs team. As far as being a help in the league, he's just not good enough.
He played a decent game over the weekend.
Yeah.
I mean,
fucking Brian Hill played a decent game last year too. The thing is he's just
That's
a rehash.
Mike is coming off the top rope tonight. Are you guys?
He's just a rehash. For me, he's a rehash of Lucas Moura. He can probably develop. He can probably give you some very, very exciting play. But the dude dribbles with his head down. Right. He is looking to shoot first rather than pass. I
mean, listen, the amount of
different game actually.
The amount of applause that he got at Fulham begs to differ with you on that one. You know, he's a Spurs
because the guy scored 2 goals in one game once. Listen, I just don't trust the guy. I don't trust the guy. Like I said, he dribbles with his head down. He doesn't look up. He's not going to be that guy who's going to consistently, just because he had a good fucking game. Brian Hill had a couple good games last year.
At best, or I'm sorry, worst, isn't he a serviceable backup for Brennan Johnson?
Yeah, but then Richie is a serviceable backup to Sonny.
Yeah.
But the serviceable backup to Brennan Johnson is going to be Ivan Perisic.
Interesting.
Yeah. Same word.
Is Perisic been on the block at all, or is Perisic, he's sticking around?
Sticking around.
I mean,
this guy is a guy who's going to be able to give you veteran leadership. He's going to be able to put crosses in. He's going to be able to really just kill it.
His contract ends at the end of the season.
That's fine, but he is the guy who's going to be able to stabilize. You need a veteran presence and a team this young to be able to stabilize a team.
Gone in January.
Perisic?
Yeah.
That might be, but Manor Solomon is not the second coming of Jesus Christ because he had 2 assists.
Why are you saying that? Because he's from Israel? What's that one
about? All right, Dave, you win. You win this one.
Sorry,
you win this round.
No, we'll see that one up, Mikey. You teed it up.
We'll see. I mean, honestly, though, you need someone who is a confident passer, a confident dribbler in this system. I think that the fact that there are people who I thought actually would be better. I thought that we would see a revival in a few more players who apparently did not make that cut. You've already mentioned several. So it's kind of a shame, but I don't know. Give it a season. Tell you what, Mike, if he scores, if Manor Solomon scores 8 goals or more in all competitions for the rest of the year, can that be like my rider on the Winx jersey that you have to take it instead of me?
Actually, no, I think that should be assists, not goals. I think you should.
Oh, okay.
I think that's his play. I don't think he's a goal scorer.
All right. 8 or more
He
assists.
is a goal scorer, in fact.
I don't think he is.
That's why we brought him in.
Not in this team. He's not a goal scorer. He's an assist guy. He's a worker.
I don't trust him. I think he's a rehash of Lucas Moura.
Okay, so that sounds like a yes to me on my little asterisk to Steve's asterisk, right?
All right,
we might have to pin down the details.
Yeah, I will buy a Manor Solomon jersey and get it signed.
There you go.
Fun fact.
Wait, that jersey for Brian or for you? I just want to be clear. What's that commitment?
I'm gonna find a way to get it signed. I know a guy that he grew up with. So
this is true. Yep. Okay, gotcha. Steve, fun fact.
Yeah, my fun fact. Just comparing Manor Solomon this season with Lucas Moura last season. Manor Solomon already has twice as many goal contributions simply by having 2 assists.
Different coach, different system.
Lucas Moura in 2021, let's see, his best season for us looks like it was 18-19, where he scored 10 goals. Do we think Manor Solomon beats Lucas Moura's best season in goal contributions?
Not a chance. How about assists? What did he have on assists?
Well, no, I'm talking goals and assists. 10 total.
Okay. Goal contributions, I'd say, yeah. I think he did.
I don't know if you watched the first 30 minutes of Manor Solomon playing.
I also watched the first 30
say 20
minutes of first 30
minutes.
minutes of Decky playing a year and a half or 2 years ago when he joined us, and he sucked. And then he became a beloved player. So I think people can settle in.
We'll see. We'll see. This should be a fun little side bet for the season.
No, I feel that I feel like that Dave has.
I feel like every time I look at the table, it's not even going to say Premier League table to me. It's just going to be the Winks tracker.
The Winks tracker.
Why does it always got to come back to Harry Winks? This is fucking weird, this thing that we do here.
Mike's an old salty dog tonight. Mike, what do we do?
I'm not. You have been shitting on me since the second I got on this podcast. Brian, in my defense, I'm rushing around. I got a text message. We had a WhatsApp, and it was like, "Hey, is Mike gonna be able to be on?" And Dave's gonna be like, "It's gonna be some excuse about the union." Yeah, and in fact, I was at my daughter's volleyball game. Which is why we couldn't do this till 7. And then as I'm logging on, I hear Dave say, you're gonna hold on a minute for Mike's technical issues. He's been ragging on me since before.
And then he didn't let 2 minutes go before he's incorrectly trying to rehash whose fault the goal was, Mickey or somebody else.
No rehash necessary.
It's everybody's fault. There were 7 fucking dudes there. And 2 attackers.
Man, I am so happy that the Wicked Spursy barbecue was like 2 weeks ago, because I think I'd be uninvited at this point. I'm a little concerned.
No, you was the only person invited, and it would be a ring set up in the backyard.
Listen to this back, and then everybody can decide who's been attacking who the entire time. I've been attacked. Yeah.
Oh man!
And just like Lucas Moura,
Dave's great at playing the victim, just like his corporate overlords.
But it doesn't, just like Lucas Moura, it doesn't matter about Mike's day-to-day performance, because the entirety of his contributions,
it's coist.
It's all about heart. It's all about the heart.
So we're judging Mike by his social media, is what you're saying, Brian? Is that?
Oh, we don't want to. No, we're not comparing Lucas.
Do you see how big? Do you see how big Steve's eyes got right there? We're all very sensitive. Like, what is good enough that Mike has done that we can compare it to the Champions League hat trick?
I'll tell you a good thing that Mike has done. I'll go there.
I got something. Go ahead, Steve.
That pork.
Damn Skippy
from the barbecue.
Oh yeah,
god damn that alone.
Damn Oliver Skippy. That's what I'm talking about.
Look. If we're talking about
the pork that traded and provide us with this weekend,
we're talking about Santa Claus making his naughty nice list. That pork alone puts Mike on the nice list. I mean,
I'm with you on that.
That is a slam dunk answer.
I'm with you on that.
The entire rest of the year, just sin after sin after sin, but because of that pork, he's on the nice list.
Here's another. This past weekend, my wife and I were out just running around doing errands, and Mike, I was wearing my lovely Wicked Spursy trucker cap that you hooked Steve and yourself and I up with, and for some reason I thought I'd shown it to Beth, but she hadn't seen it. She's like, "Where'd you get that?" I said, "Mike got it for Steve and I," and she said, That's a great hat. That looks fantastic. I love that hat." She said, "Can I try it on?" Like, so props to the hat giver, Mike. And Mike, first on behalf of me, but second on behalf of all of our fans, I want to apologize for shitting on you today, because you are not deserving of a pile of turd to be dumped upon you. And
oh god,
and I love you, Michael. I absolutely love you. So just let the record show that. I said that for the internet, Brian. You heard it.
Jeez.
Yeah, I did.
The entire internet.
It's only because you're a diamond that you're getting it so rough.
Oh, that's what she said.
Oh yes.
I'm just confused here. When did Dave turn into this hippie liberal Mr. Feelgood over here?
That's right. Lovey
because
Dave,
I called him out on it.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't apologize for what Dave said. I apologize for everything I said, but I'm not going to apologize for Dave, because I know that that's what he wants. He wants me to come and join him in this. Let's all pretend that this was all happy feely good times, but no.
Wait, did we just automatically segue to the conspiracy theory? Because I'm fucking here for it.
It's like that. It's closing.
Way to go!
It's this weird combo.
Let's do a. Can we do a closing thoughts conspiracy theory?
You can pull the combo off. Let's hear it.
Sure.
No, I mean, it's all about Stevie. That's Stevie's. That's
Shit.
Stevie's
All
best.
right. Closing thoughts, conspiracy theory. Also,
Wait, hold on. Before Steve,
I've got this great shirt. It says, "I wish it was Friday."
Oh, that's cool.
Nice.
I love it.
Mike, let's note that there are other pods out there that have picked up on the conspiracy theory vibe, right? We should just say that for the sake of saying it.
Oh, those Australians, they think that they're the conspiracy theory podcast. They said that on their last one. They did.
Yeah,
they did.
Cute.
They did. The other guys who also became Spursy after us. They're just a bit Spursy, but we're wicked Spursy.
Yeah,
wicked.
I'd rather be wicked than just a bit.
Conspiracy. I'll give you a closing thoughts conspiracy.
Let's hear it,
Dan, we love you, man.
I don't think that we've been talking to the real Dave.
But Barney, we're not so high on Barney. We love Dan, but not Barney.
This entire show, we've been sitting here under the impression that our host, Dave, that's Bounce with a Y over here, has been our benevolent overlord, making sure that we're all staying in our lanes, doing our thing, keeping the show running. But deep down, Dave has actually been replaced with some form of like NSA, CIA mole who has infiltrated the Wicked Spursy podcast to better understand the pro-union movement that is being perpetuated by co-host Mike over there, to make sure that if another Jimmy Hoffa type pops up, that the US government can take care of it before it becomes an issue. And the only way that they could do that is by learning the ins and outs of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club and co-hosting a podcast with the rest of us insane animals just to keep up appearances. I'm on to you, not Dave.
Well, listen, while I may be busted, my job is to keep an eye on Michael Trotsky over here and just kind of keep a handle on what the organizing is looking like, so that it can be effectively squashed when the time comes.
Trotskovich.
Trotskovich.
Oh, I love it.
You are relatively accurate with that, Steve.
Yeah. I thought so.
I do believe on play-by-play review, though, when you go back and listen, you're going to be like, yeah, he wasn't that tough on Mike tonight. This is just a normal episode. That's just my take, but
CIA, NSA, Dave, whoever you are, just you just tone it down a little bit next time, and we totally buy that you are actual Dave.
See, absolutely. Yeah, this Dave was in the uncanny valley of like he was a little too mean and then a little too nice, and somehow
that's an uncanny valley glass for you there, Brian.
No kidding.
So you hit a home run with that one. Yeah, well done.
Man, the talk about being written in the stars, huh?
Bingo. How about closing thoughts from you, Brian? What's on your mind? What do you think?
Video.
He did. Steve, can you hear us? You still with us?
I think you went to get beer.
Possible.
Well, speaking of being written in the stars, you heard it here first, folks. Spurs are winning the league.
And Brian's put money on it. So
I put money and a goddamn Winks jersey on it. So if that doesn't make me serious, I don't know what does. But no, I'm looking forward to the season. I know I've said it 1,000 times, but like I'm letting myself feel like this is season one of a pretty legendary redemption arc, I think, for this whole club. I think, and I don't hate me, but I got it. You gotta give credit to the guy who had responsibility for choosing the manager. He had final say, the manager. And
Harry Winks.
Chairman Levy managed to actually, I think, get the exact right guy. Of all the guys that were available in all of world football, I think he got the exact right guy. I feel great about Ange. It was a great hire. It makes me come down from my momentary Levy out insanity of last season, and I think he owned a bunch of stuff in the offseason. There are some rumors to that effect, but he finally got some things done. He got a really great amount of money for Harry Kane. He signed the right manager. He's committed capital to improving the team. I like every single one of our signings in the offseason. I think this has been the best time to be a Tottenham Hotspur fan since Pochettino got fired.
Brian, do you even like Manor Solomon?
Said the name. He said the
sorry,
name.
I did it. I shouldn't have done it.
I'm pro. I think when you think about these guys, everybody was saying, "Oh, where is he going to be when so and so gets injured?" It's like having a deep front when you're playing football like this is so important. Like you said, big Ange athletic supporter up there, Dave. But think of this as this is the prelude to next season where we're competing in 5 competitions or something insane. So we got to get it right. We got to get the right people. We got to get them all comfortable with each other in different, combinations. And I think that's what we're doing. But I like the moves. I feel good about it, including Manor Solomon. Like I will vehemently disagree with you on that one. I think he's going to be an asset.
Connecting to your thoughts, I think it was our friend Wendy. I saw a comment from him weeks ago, something to the effect of Daniel Levy has been training for this offseason for the past 20 years. It's like, that's actually a really interesting comment, And,
nicely done.
I liked it. Mike, over to you. Closing thoughts. What do you got, buddy?
Listen, I hope I'm wrong about Manor Solomon. I still don't think I am. And I know like there were sections of the Spurs community that loved Lucas Moura. I loved Lucas Moura for his contributions. But he just ran himself out, and like his game got figured out really quickly. That shit can fly. That shit can fly in Brazil. That shit does fly in Brazil. That shit could fly in the French league when he was playing with PSG and being very, very helpful to his club there. But all that said, I want to mention the fact that we still, as high as I am on the season right now, we still have to have a lot of fucking things go right. We have Sheffield United at home, right? We have fucking Woolwich away, and then we have Liverpool at home. So we have 2 games that are going to tell the fucking tale, right? That will tell the tale of our season. So we just have to put things into perspective. In order for Tottenham, because of our squad depth issues, not in the front, but in the back, we have to really temper expectations. We're really fucking excited and really fucking high on this team right now. And I think that as long as everything goes to plan, people aren't getting wildly injured, doing stupid fucking shit on international duty. Thank God it's only the best player on our team right now. We have to get ourselves to and past AFCON, right? And the 2 big games are coming up this month that we have to win. We have to win at least one of them, because if we lose both, or even draw both, we're looking at having to come back from both of those games, because those are both top 6 teams right now. I don't think Woolwich is really I think they're not the team that they were last year. Let's just put it that way. I think last year anything could fucking happen. They thought they were the fucking Invincibles again. Any crazy shit can happen. Leicester could win the fucking league, right? That's the thing. That's the crazy thing that could happen. Last year, Arsenal could win the fucking league. So all that said, we just have to temper expectations. We have to hope and pray that guys like Udogie and Van de Ven stay healthy, because while we know that,
and Yves Bissouma, whose name we have not mentioned today, but has been a revelation this season.
Right. Mm-hmm. We do have Bentancur coming back who can play a role, and can play that Bissouma part. He can play that part that Pap Sarr plays. I think maybe they want to still put Skippy there, but we know that Big Daddy can come in and be serviceable. I just don't know about Eric Dyer, especially when a guy like a 19-year-old Ashley Phillips is put back there. No, it makes me nervous that we got rid of a guy with speed who has recovery pace. when we have a center back that has proven so far to be injury prone. But all that said, still be optimistic, Spurs fans. Be optimistic, because we are on the way up, and this is just the beginning. We're gonna bolster some shit in the back end of this. We're gonna go out there. We're gonna get another midfielder, and we're gonna get 2 center backs in the window in January. So we have a lot to look forward to. And if this isn't the year that we make Champions League, don't fucking worry about it. Don't fucking freak out, because I'm definitely not a Levy out guy, but I'm not a Levy in guy either. I'm just a let's progress and move forward guy, with or without Daniel Levy.
I'm gonna tell him you said that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well put, boys. We've hit the end. We've gone almost 90 minutes. Can you believe that?
Wow, it's a big one. Well, it was a big one. There's a lot to unwrap here.
Lots to unwrap, and you bring in Brian from Rhode Island, and there's a whole new set of thoughts.
Who just won't shut the hell up,
No, man. I mean, we love having him on.
Take a break so he can grab more wine. I mean, it's all kinds of stuff like that. But hey, Brian, it's been great to have you. We appreciate you, man. Thanks for
love you guys. Thank you. So it was a pleasure to watch this last weekend with Poppy, and I can't wait to watch a match with you guys in person coming up here soon.
Very good. Very good. Gentlemen, as we close, Steve, what would you say?
Quiz. Don't be an asshole.
Love that you added that, by the way. And Mike, how about you?
Everybody, it's a crazy world out there. I just want you all to look up, not look down at the ball, and just be safe. And also, Tottenham Hotspur action. It's fantastic.
There we go.
Nicely done. Nicely done.